That's very attractive.
Well, it's rather fly by night. Yeah, we'll figure. I'm going to say something about this after the offering. You know, I don't know how to convey it because this cannot be otherwise.
And after like this.
We're recognizing Hanukkah that starts this evening. This video music, and some sizzling potatoes. Little pancakes or something.
The latkes.
Yeah.
But Dan, right when mom is done, I'm trying to and there's been a couple saying prayer. And I'm going to make
So she do that before them?
yes.
Oh, and she knows she's going to do that.
Right. I'm going to introduce her.
Great. So when I
Thank you. It is nice. I just found it like probably before. I've been wanting this for years. And I bought it years ago because it was so unique. Someone makes
You're not going to be using this, are you?
No, there's two of them up here anyhow.
Okay. Hey, Pam.
I am.
Pam, are you all set for Thursday? But I mean, depending on it. And Patty's doing well, she'll get the salad there. Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Are we ready? Almost? Give it a minute.
Let's say another minute.
Okay. Oh yeah, more people are straggling in.
Did you see Karina the other day said Karina was still
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
okay. I'm going to show it to you because I put two copies. I told her I wanted her to see. And now she's acting all shy. It's just
She's asking for a salary raise.
because
Did you tell
those
Karina?
are university professors once they publish.
Bob, did you tell Karina? Bob, did you tell Karina 2 verses instead of 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I did. I will. Jackie's going to be verses 1 and 2.
What happened to the little thingy?
I don't know. I just recorded 3 verses. That's fine.
Jackie, you're on.
Okay.
Ready.
away we go. 2, 3.
And that was by a great American composer, Scott Joplin.
Thank you very much, Jackie. That was lively and lovely. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Treasure Coast Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Stuart, Florida. Today is November 28th, 2021, and my name is Ronnie Dembowski, and I'm your worship associate today. We are a welcoming congregation. We welcome people of all gender identities, races, ages, and backgrounds. It's wonderful to see all our vaccinated members in the sanctuary. Although we are also on YouTube for those people that are far away or unvaccinated. So hello to you also. To be put on our mailing list or to gain more information about us, go to our website at tcuuc.org. That is tcuuc.org. You'll get announcements in our Friday online newsletter. If we have any visitors today, I don't think we do we? Unless they're out there still.
More people out there.
Well, they're not in here, so welcome to them when they come in. We can't ask them to introduce themselves. I have a few announcements. The first announcement is, for many, many years, we used to have people bring in poinsettias to put up here when we will be putting up the Christmas trees today, to honor a loved one. And they would bring it in, and we would have a sign-up sheet in Heston Hall on the table, and they would leave the poinsettias along here. And at the end of the holiday season, they're more than welcome to take them home. So please bring in some poinsettias. It's really pretty, and it makes the place look very nice. Don't forget the first and third Tuesday, and sometimes if there's a third Tuesday at the end of the month, we have our brown bag lunch in Memorial Park downtown. If you don't know how to get there, ask somebody in the audience later during coffee. Well, it's not coffee hour, during water hour. Also, another quick announcement is my husband Fred is going to set up the Christmas tree and decorations, but after the service, and he could use a little helping hand or two. So if anybody is so inclined, it's a little easier with at least 2 people. Thank you. I'd also like to thank the people who are serving us today. Jackie Robbins, with her beautiful, wonderful music, our greeters and our ushers, and our host, Karina Poloni, and our tech whiz, Chris McGann. After the service, please stay for water and cookies in the narthex. Now we're going to light the chalice. Our Reverend Bob MacDonald will be lighting it as I say these words, the symbol of warmth and freedom. We light this, oh, wait a minute, excuse me, that wasn't the title. Symbol of light and knowledge, symbol of warmth and freedom. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith. Here we gather to celebrate hope and the infinite possibilities of love. By Tom Goldsmith. My opening words are a little personal. Tonight, we celebrate the first day of Hanukkah, and it goes until December 6th. This is the Jewish festival of lights. It is an 8-day celebration. Hanukkah means dedication in Hebrew. We light the menorah, and this is the best thing we had for a menorah here. I couldn't find mine right now because it's so early. We light the menorah each night and celebrate with food, games, and gifts, small gifts. Each night we add another candle using the 9th candle, which is usually the middle candle, in the center to light the other candles. On the 8th night, all candles, including the center one, are lit. We also play a game called Dreidel, which a lot of people have heard of. It's a spinning top game. And we used to play that and get fake chocolate little money in the little gold wrappers that you've seen in the store. As guilt, right, all right, the guilt. I'm guilty.
Not guilt.
Gelt, it's gelt, I know. Hanukkah commemorates the rededication during the 2nd century BC of the Second Temple in Jerusalem, where, according to legend, Jews had risen up against the Greek Syrian oppressors in the Maccabean Revolution. My family was not very religious. However, we did say the prayers and enjoy the holiday. It really is a relatively minor holiday in the Jewish calendar. However, in the U.S., many parents turned it into a big gift-giving event to compete with Christmas. My family, nope, only gave small gifts each night, and I mean small, like crayons one night and the coloring book the second, really small. And maybe one large gift on the last night. It was difficult growing up and seeing all the stuff my Christian friends received at Christmas. I wanted the holiday they had with the Christmas tree and the stockings on the fireplace and believing in Santa Claus. I told myself that when I grew up, I will have a holiday tree, give my children nice gifts, which I've done for over 50 years. It helps that I married a Christian. My mother was never materialistic. She cared about the earth and wanted to leave a very small imprint on this planet. So that was part of the reason that everything was in small quantity. We did, however, have many aunts, uncles, and cousins, and many of you know Rob and my cousin who comes sometimes at the holidays, and we always had fun and a loving time together. Now, Ann Azawa, she remembers the prayer that you do for the candle lighting, and I asked her if she would come up and just say the prayer for us. And of course, there would only be one candle and this, and you would be lighting this one candle.
That's the Chalice. The middle candle is called the Chalice.
The Sham. See, I told you we weren't very religious.
My price for saying the prayer is that I will tell you that Hanukkah is very significant in my personal life. My name, Chana, comes from the Hebrew word that Ronnie mentioned to you. And my birthday, expressed in Hebrew, is En V'Chafar Hanukkah. That is 1 week before Hanukkah. It's a little difficult because Hanukkah is this different day each year, but we don't worry about that. And this is the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Chanukah. Amen.
I didn't know we were going to have Ann, so I got a video that we're going to watch now, a rabbi explaining it a little bit more and adding the components of the food that's important at all holidays. So now watch and hear this.
What is Hanukkah? Hanukkah is the Jewish festival of lights. It happens during the winter months. My name is Menachem Creditor. I'm a rabbi. I'm the scholar in residence at UJA Federation of New York. Hanukkah is a Jewish holiday that lasts 8 days. It signifies a miracle that happened within Jewish history, where after reclaiming the Holy Temple in Jerusalem that had been conquered by the Assyrian Greeks, we found only one little vial of oil that was left over after everything else had been contaminated. We only had a little amount. That light burned for 8 days. And those 8 days were seen to be a miraculous signal that we could continue our ritual life, have a relationship with God, and functionally find the time to create more olive oil so as to continue the life beyond. The way that we observe Hanukkah has a lot of diversity depending on what kind of Jew you are or where in the world you find yourself. But one of the commonalities is that it's a tradition to light the candles and to place them facing the outside world. In Hebrew and in Aramaic, it's called Pirsume Denisa, which means publicizing the miracle. I'm right here, and I have a light to shine in the world. It's a fascinating thing that more Jews observe Hanukkah than really almost any other holiday, with the exception of Passover and maybe the high holidays. And one of the reasons for that is it's very easy to do. It is a beautiful thing to gather as friends and family, to light these candles, and really that's the entirety of the observance. How you place the candles, the decorations and the songs you sing, maybe the potato latkes that you eat. A latke is actually the most miraculous food in Jewish history because somehow we've eaten these oil-drenched potato pancakes and we're around to talk about it. A dreidel, in Hebrew it's called a sivivon, means a turning thing, a top. A dreidel is a specifically Hanukkah-oriented game to play. The name Hanukkah can be a challenge, especially in an American vernacular because the sound ch isn't there. So when you try to spell it, some people spell it scientifically where an H stands for the ch sound, but it's not ch, it's actually h. So if you're being very careful, it's Hanukkah. But that's even hard to hear. It's a real challenge and a real blessing, maybe, to be Jewish in a modern global economy world, especially in America, where Christmas has become so dominant as a commercial experience. No matter what kind of person you are, what faith is yours, Christmas really dominates the public sphere. So much so that Christmas actually becomes less Christmas, and in so universalizing itself, Hanukkah is also influenced by the culture just like everyone is. Gift giving has nothing to do with Hanukkah, except that American Jews understand what it is to be in a world where during these winter months, when there's a holiday, we give each other gifts. If you have a Jewish friend, you're lucky. And one of the things you can do with that Jewish friend when Hanukkah comes around is to say Happy Hanukkah. And there doesn't need to be anything more than that. It's a very simple, happy wish. Hanukkah is the reminder that you can be yourself and be in contact with an outside world. It takes incredible bravery to take the candle that is the light of my tradition and place it in a way that exposes me in the world as being me. Whoever passes by is certainly aware that my home is a Jewish home. I'm proud of that, and it takes some bravery. Everyone should have that kind of light and life and bravery.
One of our Hanukkah hymns in the UU hymnal is 221, Light One Candle, and we'll sing verses 1 and 2.
Okay, here we go. Oh, sorry. about you?
sounded familiar.
It is familiar. It's another wonderful tune. It just keeps saying new recording, new recording. I forgot I had a new recording. Let's see if this is correct.
Okay, thank you. Now it's time for us to do our affirmation. Let us recite the first verse and sing through our Mass again the second verse. Let's just wait. Oh, here it comes. Okay. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you.
This is the time we invite you to share joys and concerns. This is how we are able to support each other and care about each other. So please make your sharings personal and brief. I'll start by just mentioning that my twin grandchildren love to hang out whenever they can get away from their parents at that mall in Durham. So when I heard there was a shooting on Friday, I had to get to the first one I could to be sure they were home and safe. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured there, I don't think, and my own family was not. Grateful for that. Anyone now wanting to share a matter of joy or sorrow? Come on up, Pam.
My name is Pam Corbin. As you know, this church has supported the Senior Citizen Center on Bay Shore in Port St. Lucie. And we take our extra magazines that the seniors can read. And I have actually seen the workers at the center read the magazines to the Alzheimer's unit. That's the part that we go. This church has sent them turkeys, and we have sent them lots of magazines. And now I'm asking you individually, if you can, they asked for puzzles They asked for puzzles with many parts. So if you have a puzzle game box at home, I'm asking you, you can either give it to me or you can drop it off at the Center for the Aging in Port St. Lucie on Bay Shore Boulevard. And we're just asking for puzzles.
Thank you. Yes, Judith.
Well, I have two joys and two thank yous. My first joy is that for the first time in several years, Tricia, my sister, actually had a little bit of Thanksgiving dinner at her house, which was an enormous effort for her, and she did a fabulous job. My second joy and thank you is to Bob. Because of his sermon last week, we had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Nobody spoke anything about politics or the worldwide situation or anything of that sort. It was family memories and traditions, and it was a very nice Thanksgiving. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. You want to move a stone? Go ahead, Carolyn.
Hi, I'm Carolyn Haken, and I wanted to say I was very thankful this year to be able to spend Thanksgiving with my daughter and her family and my great-granddaughter and my grandchildren. Two of them are in Virginia, so I didn't get to see them, but it was really nice, and it was especially nice because we didn't have to worry about what we talked about because we all kind of agree, so that was good. I was especially thankful for that.
Anyone else? All right, Chris.
A sorrow because Mary and I will be leaving you and going back up north in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, where it's currently in the low 40s.
Oh, boo.
But we had a wonderful time here. Our family celebrated in our home, 14 of them, told us what a wonderful time it was, Thanksgiving, and we're gonna time this a little better next time. But we sure love being with you, and we'll be with you again in the spring.
Want to move a stone? Anyone else? Well, yes, go ahead.
Jackie Robbins, and on January 2nd on Saturday, there's a 4 o'clock and a 8 o'clock concert at the Lyric Theater where a bunch of us mentors and professionals, well, not that many, but we'll be playing with the Youth Symphony members who are of a certain caliber and the Liverpool Lads instead of the Beatlemania that we used to do. So it's a concert of Beatles music, totally. And these guys apparently sound, I have not seen them or worked with them yet, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and I get to rock out. Everybody gets to wear black, except I get to dress like whatever I feel like dressing, because I do rock out when it comes to January 2nd at the Lyric Theater, and it gives me great joy to have that much fun on stage. Thank you.
Anybody else? Then I'll ask Ronnie to move one for those we haven't shared out loud, but we always carry more with us.
I'll do one for your grandson.
Thank you. And this meditation is a reading from the back of the hymnal entitled, It Matters What We Believe by Sophia Lyon Faz. Some beliefs are like walled gardens. They encourage exclusiveness and the feeling of being especially privileged. Other beliefs are expansive and lead the way into wider and deeper sympathies. Some beliefs are like shadows, clouding children's days with fears of unknown calamities. Other beliefs are like sunshine, blessing children with the warmth of happiness. Some beliefs are divisive, separating the saved from the unsaved, friends from enemies. Other beliefs are bonds in a world community where sincere differences beautify the pattern. Some beliefs are like blinders, shutting off the power to choose one's own direction. Other beliefs are like gateways, opening wide vistas for exploration. Some beliefs weaken a person's selfhood. They blight the growth of resourcefulness. Other beliefs nurture self-confidence and encourage the feeling of personal worth. Some beliefs are rigid, like the body of death, impotent in a changing world. Other beliefs are pliable, like the young sapling, ever growing with the upward thrust of life. Sophia Lyon Vaz. Now, moments of silence. The hymn is 123, Spirit of Life. We hum through our mask. We sing the verse through our mask. And now we invite you to meet our offering plate as we pass it. This is a season of gratitude and generosity, and we invite and need yours. Thank you. No, I can do it myself.
was George Frederick Telemann.
I was just about to say that. I know you give in gratitude, and we certainly receive in gratitude. On that note, I want to call to your attention, this is the family that we're helping be reunited in Indiantown. And this is a Christmas stocking. You recognize it, don't you? We're going to be asking people to give what they can to go to this family. It's a very moving story of people who were torn apart as they came to our border, but now have found each other. And UUSC has found us and asked us to do what we can. And we are, thanks to Linda's trips there and her telling us what we can do and what they need. We're going to be needing that. So we're going to ask you to put what you can in here when you can. And if you want it to be recorded on your statement, there are these small envelopes. You could put your name on it, and we would know that you gave it. Probably on Christmas Eve, I haven't cleared this with the board yet, but we often say on Christmas Eve, should we take an offering or not? We'll probably pass the sock, so that'll be Christmas Eve. But between now and then, we hope you'll find occasion to come to it and help to fill it. I'm not sure if we have any new people here with these masks. I'm never quite sure anymore. So I just want to say, as I do periodically, I'm going to be talking a little bit about our principles today. And our principles are found on the 7th page of our hymnal. It's not marked. You have to turn 7 pages. And up at the top, you'll see the listing, starting with the inherent worth and dignity of every person. So we're proud of those principles. They're like our creed. They are definitely our marching orders. And we hope to be faithful to them. There's a lot of UU congregations are voting for an 8th principle, which is to fight racism in our land until it is history, and then be honest about our history. That would be the 8th principle. I would suggest a 9th principle, that we agree to disagree, but not disagreeably. I think that's something we could reach for. One of you said to me rather recently, we UUs are open-minded and we're very opinionated. Now that's a combination. That sounds like a sermon down the road. But anyhow, our principles on the 7th page, I got away from that. Now you know where they are. It is a season of storytelling. Stories lift our spirits. I am really glad and thankful that during this holiday season, we are participating modestly and generously in the lives of one family with the names Magdalena, Sebastian, Maria, little Maria, and Juan. We are doing that because of your generosity, and particularly the generosity of Linda, who is communicating with this family with some Spanish, some English, and lots of smiles and love. It feels so good to be able to be part of this healing. So when you see in the weekend news, please visit the sock, you'll know what that means and feel good about it. Immigration is a very complicated subject. This family and many others came to our border in hope and were horribly violated. We know that not everyone who wants to come here can be allowed to come here. Wiser heads than mine need to figure out how many and who can. Unless we are the descendants of Native Americans who were here and didn't willingly give their land up to immigrants, we ought to temper our thoughts of those begging for a life at our borders with the realization that we came from such ourselves. Military advantage got us what wasn't ours. People have asked me, just how Scottish are you? And I reply with pride, I am pure upstate New York American mongrel. A great grandma, affectionately remembered as Nanny Donald, of course the name she brought meant son of Clan Donald. Well, she came over with little else than that name. It was only need, hope, and courage that brought her to the breakaway colonies. I was interested to hear Fareed Zakaria, an immigrant himself, pose and answer the question, isn't America doomed to be overcome by the Chinese juggernaut economy in the next century? You know, the economy that is foresightfully doing infrastructure in Africa while we struggle to get agreement among ourselves to do our own. Fareed's answer was no. We are still the country that people want to come to. And China will hit a wall because it enforced a one-child policy. My topic is the season of generosity. The stories we tell remind us, if we need reminding, the beauty of life, the meaning of life, the foundation of our lives is a generosity that came our way, that enabled us to build our lives. Who taught you that? Who gave you something to believe in? Who told you, hopefully, to believe in yourselves? We are recognizing a number of religions in this season because this season celebrates a number of religions. Karen Armstrong calls the 8th century the 700s BCE, 2,800 years ago, an axial age, meaning the world of religion turned in several parts of the world, turned as on an axis, turned toward the recognition of compassion as the heart of deity and the point of religion, compassion, or what I'm calling generosity. Judaism, the prophets of Israel, are one of the religions she cites, like the 7th century BCE prophet Micah. He has shown you, O man, what is good, kindness. And another prophet, Amos, let justice roll down like waters. And the kings of Israel branded the prophets, you troublers of the people. Good trouble, way before and surely inspiring John Lewis. So that mysteriously long-lasting oil of Hanukkah is a sign of a cosmic generosity. Do you and I believe in a cosmic generosity? Do you really want to be part of a universe without one, however you name it? Naming it, of course, isn't the point. Doing it is the point. Who taught us that generosity was or should be the heart of the universe? If not of the actual physical components, then of the spirituality we bring to it, indeed require of it, if only because it is required of us by the generosity that has come our way and made our lives possible and worth living. Whom do you credit? Dickens' A Christmas Carol is such a story. Adorably named characters, Ebenezer Scrooge and Bob Cratchit, frame the journey from greed and hoarding to generosity. Generosity that blesses everyone. That reminded me of the required reading of 10th grade, Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. So straight from the Britannica of our time, Wikipedia. A Tale of Two Cities is an 1859 historical novel by Charles Dickens, set in London and Paris before and during the French Revolution. The novel tells the story of the French doctor Manette, his 18-year-long imprisonment in the Bastille in Paris, and his release to live in London with his daughter Lucy, whom he had never met. The story is set against the conditions that led up to the French Revolution and the Reign of Terror. The name of Robespierre is usually associated with that. Now, these opening lines I remember partly, but some of the others I don't, but they're still good. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. We had everything before us. We had nothing before us. We were all going direct to heaven. We were all going direct the other way. In short, the period was so far like the present period that some of its noisiest authorities insisted on its being received for good or for evil in the superlative degree of comparison only. This, too, is a story of Dickens that ends in generosity, one man giving his life for another. It is also a reminder that a hard-fought-for time like the French Revolution, like the American experiment in democracy, can end in tyranny if enough people sleep and just let others defend it. Whether you were taught generosity in religious settings or not, the required reading mandated by the New York Board of Regents in my time tried to instill it. And I suspect wiser heads knew that the more required reading was resisted, the more deeply instilled, downloaded, so to speak, albeit begrudgingly. It would take and catch on. I also felt that way about George Eliot's Silas Marner, the miser whose gold stash was stolen and replaced by a golden-haired child abandoned at his door. So a relationship was more valuable, more enriching than riches. Ditto the Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Coleridge. Call a creature of God's good earth unclean, and be condemned to wearing one around your neck. I learned in seminary that Coleridge, clergy and author, got his theme from Christian scripture and his eerie visuals from opium. These required literary morsels, like our parents' preventive cod liver oil, haunt me all these years later. Do I possibly need Dr. Phil? I woke up once this week with a vision of Shelley's Ozymandias. Remember Ode to Ozymandias? A statue of a great emperor with the etched lines, "Look on my glories and despair." His statues and glories lost in a desert, bathed only by the sun and windswept sands, putting the world's glories in unmistakably flawed relief. We want to be a congregation of generosity. We hope that people feel generosity of spirit from the first time they come through our doors. UU was and is defined by its opposition to exclusion. Calvinism, particularly colonial, Congregationalist, Calvinist New England, believed all people were born with a tag, bound for heaven and bound for hell, one or the other. The Protestant work ethic was your way of showing the direction you were headed, encouraged to work like H to avoid it. Unitarians in colonial New England said, hell no, no hell, literally. And Universalists, a large Christian denomination in the colonies, said no to Calvinism also. They took, at least I learned in college, they took at least one line of Christian scripture literally. As in Adam all die, so in Christ shall all be made alive. That meant nobody was born bound for hellfire. We might say, well, we don't believe that anyway. I know I don't. But in its time, colonial Calvinist New England, heresy. Was that like an amen? I mean, it sounded like you were wanting to say amen in your own creative way. I accept that. Definitely.
Universal generosity spoke itself.
This is a challenging time for all congregations. In some moments before the interfaith Thanksgiving service at the Methodist Church on Canner last Sunday afternoon, I asked a couple colleagues, heads of larger congregations than us, were their people coming back with their reopening? And were the funds they were used to and needed, were they returning? To both questions from both leaders, worrisome no. One mentioned going to a commercial gimmick, Giving Tuesdays, a kind of afterthought bow toward generosity after wringing out of you all the spending that could be got. The situation is worrisome and survival for congregations large and small. We know where we fall there, and we must not fall or fail. Given the polarized state of our nation, we have principles and values to sing out, beginning with our first principle, the inherent dignity and worth of all people. Racism is our American reality that is not going away anytime soon. And the enormity of racism this week, we cheered and teared up over a conviction of 3 white men for killing an unarmed black young man and claiming self-defense. And we learned of it only because of a leaked camera video. And the first law people who thought it didn't merit prosecution are going to be prosecuted. So yes, 1,000 times yes, the dignity and worth of all people. We know that applies to LGBTQ people who have historically been abused and marginalized under the umbrella of religions. That fight goes on because those religions, at least many of the larger ones, like Roman Catholic and Southern Baptist, aren't getting it and aren't budging. A gay author was wowed recently by a letter from the Pope, a letter from Pope Francis expressing concern and support for him. But that didn't change church doctrines of condemnation. And our principles go on to commitment to the search for truth and meaning and democratic, small d, democratic practice in society at large and in church. So, voting rights for all. Does all that sound like we line up with one political party in America? Our history, TCUUC's history, has a somewhat different story. I didn't know the man, Gene Heston, who gave us the land and the first building, but I'm pretty sure he was a science-minded Republican who wanted a reasonable, non-judgmental option in Martin County. And though we shared many words but never mentioned politics, I'm pretty sure the man who spearheaded this sanctuary and whom I got to tell the night before he died that the congregation had voted that day to go forward with it, I'm pretty sure of his political persuasion. So I think we've got to figure out how to appeal to people of all political persuasions and let no one think we want one only, or we could be doomed with a capital D in this very red state and area. I'm reminded of Peter Gomes, the black Episcopalian chaplain at Harvard, who said on 60 Minutes some years ago, it was harder coming out as a Republican on that campus than coming out as a gay. When we say welcome here and the inherent worth of all, we have to mean it across all polarizations in Martin and St. Lucie County. Too many media have become echo chambers of one voice. That can't be you. Stories of growth in generosity or of faith in generosity warm us where and when we need it. I turned on the news first thing Friday morning because I love to see the crowds rushing through the doors, and I can think, I'm so glad where I am and where I am not. But that wasn't the breaking news. You know what the breaking news was. Omicron, another one. This holiday season, we need stories, we need faith in generosity. We need it. The closing hymn, not exactly Hanukkah, but you, this little light of mine, 118. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. This thing of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Now, Ronnie will extinguish during these closing words, and they are from the Universalist minister, Hosea Ballou, in the back of the hymnal. If we agree in love, there is no disagreement that can do us any injury. But if we do not, no other agreement can do us any good. Let us endeavor to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bonds of peace. Hosea Ballou.